Well, we're sitting here with our brand new $1,000 toilet.
That came in the mail.
Came in the mail, and it was very exciting. But this is the Airhead composting toilet, and we chose this one for a number of reasons. Not because it does anything different than anybody else's, it just has some slight differences. But we did want to talk about those things because in the research that we were doing, it was hard to find as much information about this as it was maybe like the Nature's Head or some of the other toilets that were out there. This was a little bit harder to research, but there were some differences. And we would be, if you think that we bought this because it's a better composting toilet, that's not it. Like that's splitting hairs. They do exactly the same. All the composting toilets do this exactly the same thing. Solid waste goes over here, liquid waste goes over here. You keep them apart. You mix up the solid waste every once in a while or after use, and that's it. That's all it does. So, but there were some design differences that, you know, made this one a better choice for us. Not a better toilet, just a better choice for us. So, we wanted to address some of that stuff, but actually this wasn't our original design. Carrie had some specific things that she wanted to move into this bus. These were like key things. I had to have this, and it had to have...
Oh yeah, there was only 2 things I wanted in the whole, like 2 requests out of the whole entire bus. And one of them was to have a flushing toilet.
The cost differences from the other one, it's really negligent. It's like $100 or something.
Well, you can't really just say the other one, because there's more than one other one.
You're right, you're right.
But there's one other that would be the top contender. And from the time that I got downvoted to having a composting toilet, we just assumed that we would be getting in Nature's Head.
Totally.
Just because that's what like everybody else is using. That's what everybody else is putting on their Skoolie. That's just like the name and the brand. That's the only name brand that I heard of in months and months and months of him talking about it and researching it. And then it was like barely like what, like a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, I watched somebody else's video and they talked about their Airhead composting toilet, and there were some features that I liked way better. So I was like texting him at work, what about the Airhead? Like...
Which was cool for me, because all of a sudden she was like on board with composting. She was like, that thing is cool and I like this.
I like it better because of this and that and this and...
Yeah, there were some things that there were some things about the Nature's Head physically in its external design that she had a problem with, because it really...
Well, okay, let me clarify.
Well, it played into the design of our bathroom.
Yes, it's not so
much
it wasn't that it just looked weird. It wasn't that I had a problem with it. I don't want anybody to say that I had a problem with this design. But to clarify, on the Nature's Head toilet, the pee container, I don't know what else to call this. It sounds so crude.
That's what it is.
But it doesn't just set on the floor. There's like a little base that extends, like this little,
yeah.
and with a cup, it comes up on a couple inches in the front, so it's like a reservoir that this container would fit down into. And that's great. But we designed our bus with the shower and toilet all as kind of like an all-in-one enclosure, and I thought, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought the shower water, just little kind of splashes getting close and coming over and just would trickle down and get down into that little reservoir and then start getting funky and dirty and stinky. And
but that kind of leads to the next point of this design that we really liked. We don't have to take this part off on top to take this part off.
Yes.
And so yes. Having that little thing that holds this in place makes it so that you have to
on the other branch
unlatch this
and open up the poo container.
Yeah.
Every time you're just taking the urine container out. And the difference is that the brown, downtown brown container doesn't have to be dumped nearly as often. Like that apparently goes a couple of weeks, give or take, depending on how many people are using it, whereas this can get filled up a lot more frequently. So who wants to have to open and see or smell or whatever the the brown
Right.
container just to dump the yellow container.
Yeah. So that, I mean, while that is like not major, it played a part in our decision.
Yeah, it was an element. This seems so much easier to be able to just take this off without any of that hassle.
So also that
yeah.
leads to the next piece, is that the urine container on the Airhead is opaque. You don't see. Now, the downside of that is you can't just look at it and go, oh, we're a quarter full, we don't have to dump it right now.
But
there is a window. You can see when you're going to get there, or when you're there, so you know. But when you're carrying this in someplace, when when you're not out in the wilderness and you're dumping into a hole, or however you're going to get rid of your urine, if you're carrying this to some kind of bathroom and stuff, and walking across a campground or walking across where people are seeing you.
What if you are traveling and it's full at a point where the only place, like you have to go into a Starbucks or something, like you don't want to go with this clear container full of suspicious yellow liquid through any kind of public place. Whereas this one is, most people are going to have no idea what this even came off of, so they're not going to be offended by it. And anybody who does know what it is isn't going to be offended either.
Yeah, because they're going to know the necessity of having it.
It's just less offensive, period. Not only that you don't have to look at someone else's tank of urine, but we've read online that they tend to start to get funky on the inside, maybe growing a little mold and
something, yeah.
Just yucky.
Salt deposits.
This seems a lot, I don't know.
Undercover.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that again, not a game changer, but it mattered to us. It mattered to us. So, okay, next on the list was the Nature's Head toilet. You can open this, and then ooh, okay, we gotta move that. The Nature's Head, when you open that, then you just have the rim. It would be like you opened it like this. So when you open up the Nature's Head, this is what you got. Now this is not designed the same. It's more like a seat with a little oblong seat here, where this has more of a round design. Theirs is more oblong. But
this is more like a house. You have the seat.
Yes.
You have the lid.
The other side of that, with that, is this rubber gasket. This is like a soft rubber gasket here. There goes this. If there is going to be smell, it's not coming out there.
Right.
So, and then the gasket is also here. So this really just keeps this area
sealed
all by itself.
A lot tighter.
Right.
And I feel like a lot more pleasant. I have a lot happier time thinking about sitting on this than just sitting on the,
yeah.
I don't know. It feels more homey.
Yes. Now, the Airhead talks about being able to, because you have this feature of the second, so you could stand up and pee in here if you wanted to. I would not advise that. This is like 5 inches deep, and I swear if you went and peed in here, it's gonna splash out everywhere. I know that's what happened if I went in here. That just doesn't even make sense. So, like, yeah, you could theoretically pee in here,
if
but
you want to get beat by your
yeah, but if you live with a girl, then you're toast, dude. They're gonna kill you for that. So, like, yeah. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, you could, but probably not a good idea. So, but I just love that sealed. I love that. That's like a kind of a big deal to me, Greg.
I love this that you could choose what side you want the hand crank on. Of course, to a lot of people, it's not going to be a super big deal, but you know what? I thought that was just a perk, a benefit that you could choose.
Yeah. This one isn't, this hand crank over here, it's not threaded on. It has like a pin. So, and it seems like a small thing, but you can turn this in either direction. Whereas the other one apparently is threaded on and can come unthreaded. Again, not a game changer, but like,
I think that is a benefit, being able to
turn it in either direction.
To rotate it both ways seems like it's just going to mix it better.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's something that the handle on the Nature's Head is more like a drill press, where it has 3 coming off, and you can do this. This is more of a traditional crank.
Yeah, you don't have to move your hand. You just hold on to the same thing and keep turning. I like that way better.
So there was that. The fan. On the Nature's Head, the fan is mounted to the bowl assembly. This part comes off. It's hard to do when it's not attached to the floor. There we go. So this comes off, and the fan is attached, bolted, or screwed on. I guess you can switch side. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure you can. And then there is a wire, kind of like a 12-volt plug on the back of your router or your radio or whatever, and you plug it into that, and that fan runs 24/7. This also has a fan that runs 24/7. Okay, they're probably very, very similar fans. I think the difference is that the Airhead came with this assembly right here, which is where the fan lives, and this would mount to the wall, and then you have a hose that attaches to here.
This hose?
Yes, this would attach on, and then the other side of this attaches to the toilet. And so this is blowing outside of your house, your home, your bus, your van, venting to the outside and drawing from here. From what I gather on the Nature's Head, the fan blows into a tube, which isn't as efficient. Not a game changer, but I like this. One of the things I really like this as the guy who's building the bus is that I can just wire this into my bus. This should be on 24/7. So this will have its own
I think you should talk
fuse.
about the difference when you have to go dump your number 2 tank.
Right.
When this is wired into the wall, you don't have to unplug anything.
Yeah, you're not unplugging it.
Whereas with the Nature's Head, when there's, how do you explain
Well, I
that?
just talked about the radio plug. It's just a black wire that you would normally, on the other end of it would be a wall wart that you'd plug into the wall, and then you'd plug this into your radio, your router, or whatever. It just has like barrel connector, and it sticks in. I think that's what it was. I'm almost positive. And so when you're going to go dump, you got to unplug and unhose and take the top off of your Nature's Head. This one here is wired in.
In other words,
here.
there's an extra thing to unplug. You have to unplug the wiring with the Nature's Head and then replug in the wiring with the Nature's Head. Not a game changer, but I like this better.
Yeah, this is just wired into the bus. This will run 24/7 off our solar battery arrangement, and I don't have to worry about that. So just another thing, not a game changer, but it mattered to us. So as we were going and looking at this thing, going, oh, I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that better. So we kept doing that. So
I kept asking, wait, why are we getting the other one?
yeah, she did. That's
I
exactly.
like this
Why are
one
we getting this
better.
one? What is it about the Nature's Head that you like? I'm like, honestly,
I don't
know. That's what everybody
That's
gets.
what everybody else is getting. That's
Yeah.
what's in everybody else's video.
This is a conversation we actually had.
Literally.
So she said, well, look at this. And so I started looking at that, looking at the Nature's, or the Airhead, and I liked it better.
The dimensions are better, better. The dimensions are different.
Smaller.
The shape is different. Yes, so it is
a smaller footprint.
yeah, and ours, we have kind of a narrow space that it's fitting into, and rather than having a composting toilet that seems kind of bulky and like it's filling up that whole space, this one was a more slender design, so I felt like it was going to look more at home in that small space.
And for you boat people, the design comes in 2 different designs. They have one that actually has a chamfer, or it's chamfered right here, so that it comes in. So if you have a curved hull, it'll go up against that and push back further into that space you have that's running into the hull of your boat that's going up like this. So side note, we'll never use that because we have straight sides. But yeah, I thought that was cool. Here, this next one was big. This next one was really big for me, okay? When we take the top off of this, it's like a 3-gallon bucket, really. It's not this big thing.
That's how it works.
So when you take this outside to go dumping, okay, it doesn't have this thing coming off the front, so it's smaller. It's like carrying a bucket, really. It's just this little thing. But, people in their right mind are probably going to take this outside and dump this outside in the event of, oops, I spilled some of my poop. Okay? So you're carrying this through the house like this, and this is right in your face. And it's just, but Airhead came with this bad boy. This actually goes on the same way with little screw things, locks on if you need to be. Would you rather carry it like this with a nice fancy lid on it, or like this with the poop in your face? It's a no-brainer, really. This is a nice touch. It really is a nice touch. I like that a lot. I think this, the smaller footprint, the smaller design, the fact that this is round, I like that.
You know what? You can't really tell what it is with that lid on from a distance, or actually really even if someone walked right up to you and you were standing there with the lid on this, you can't tell that it's not some kind of like, what is it, some weird crock pot or pressure cooker, or like a person who didn't know would never know that you were standing there holding your composting poop bucket that's not actually compost yet. It's still poop at this point.
Yeah, it takes like, what, 6 weeks or something? Like
3 months, 3 to 6 months? I don't know, something.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not composted yet. The name is, what is the word for that? Deceiving. The name is deceiving. It doesn't actually make composted poop. It's not composted by the time you dump it out of here.
It starts the composting process.
It's ready to compost. It's ready to compost, but it hasn't completed the process yet. So that's an important factor to know.
So the lid on that, like, of all the things that were like points for the Airhead, that one was the most points for me personally, because
he's going to be the one dumping it every time. Because
because of the fact that I've had to make her go to this.
Because that was like one of only 2 things is I want a flushing toilet, and I had to bend on one of them. My only other thing that I requested in the whole bus was enough room to stand up in my own bedroom. I didn't want the only bedroom space to just be bed space. I still wanted to be able to stand there. That's the only 2 things I wanted in the whole bus.
Yep.
Stand up in my bedroom, flushing toilet.
So
no.
That's like one of the big reasons.
Composting toilet.
Like the fact that I could just put this on and take it outside and take care of business out there. It's round, so I can just fit a trash bag over and even like crease the edge, you know, tighten the edge and then dump it over. Like there was just form factors involved.
Without the big yucky pee container,
God knows what's going to come out of
sticking
there.
out of the way.
Like I don't know, like
I know.
I don't know if it has drains or not, but
no,
like
it doesn't.
this is a place where people go to the bathroom, and you have to assume that something's going to get in there that you don't really want to get in there. It's going to get in there.
Anytime standing water stays sitting, but like trapped without air, so like water underneath the plastic container, it gets stagnant and stinky and nasty fast. And I don't want that in my bathroom.
No,
this is going to stay dry. There's no way moisture is going to gather and stay under there.
Yeah.
It's good.
So, I mean, overall, again, you're really splitting hairs if you think that one of them is going to work better than the other one. They both are going to do exactly the same thing. That's it. They're going to work exactly the same. It comes down to the little details, what works for you. These things matter to us. So we're not putting down Nature's Head. And honestly, like a couple years ago, I almost bought one. It was used. It was $500, and if I had run into it before I bought this one, I would have bought that instead of this. I would have brought home the $500 used Nature's Head toilet and not bought this. But that deal was long gone. And when it came down to buying new, and we had a choice of which one we wanted, we chose this one.
It's a good thing.
Here's the thing. Another little thing.
I might have beat you if you had brought home a used composting toilet.
So this says 5-year warranty on this.
Do it again. Do it again. Hold it up. God. Oh. I have my glasses on. I was like, it's not focusing.
So 5-year warranty. That's kind of a big deal. Like against like normal use. You know, if I'm throwing this out of the bus on the ground, probably not covered, but if
you trip going down the steps and you end up covered in
that should be covered because that is normal usage. You have to expect at some point you're going to have your poo all over you if you're going to be handling it.
If that ever happens, I just want you to know I won't stop laughing for a long, long time.
I'll be slinging poo at you like a monkey. I'll be just throwing our feces at you.
I'll be hosing you off from afar.
That'd be so horrible. Oh my God. Nice touch. It came with our first installment of they call it, what do they call this? Cocoa fiber brick. I imagine this probably blows up into about this much when you get it wet. This has there's a lot of the use of screens in these different. This is a screen gasket. This has a screen inside of it also. They say that's super necessary to make sure that bugs aren't trying to get up past the vent fan and get in here. They did a really good job in trying to prevent you from having any issues with weird critters and stuff. Came with all the gaskets. Came with all the screws necessary to install. An extra little lids for your. So when you are taking this in someplace, you're not sloshing it over on people. That would be so gross. So that's cool. And then these things. These are really cool. So you can make coffee in your toilet. Little known fact, you can make coffee with the Airhead toilet. I'm just kidding. That's not what has fun. I'll show it. Maybe I'll show it. I thought this was interesting, and most people probably never see anything like that. Inside here, and I'm opening them both for the purpose of showing here. Well, let's lean it forward so you can see. In here, where the business takes place, these are where your urine goes. These little holes right here. This will be the last time I put my hands in here. Okay, so pay attention. This is where the pee goes, and here, this is a trap door to where the poo goes, and this right here also. If urine gets on here, it actually goes this way and goes into the urine area. So with this closed, you know, you could dump water in here and it would all go into the urine container right here. But when you're ready to do number 2, you open this fancy trap door down here, and that's where number 2 goes. So they included this, and I can't say that I don't know if we're going to use it forever or not, because we just haven't used it yet, but I think
close.
That you would have this.
You would close the hatch.
You close the hatch like that, right? And then you take this and you put this right here, and then your solid, you can pee and everything, but your solid waste is going to catch right here for sure, but it's not going to get all over the inside of the bowl right here. And then when you finally want to avoid the container here, you open this up, and the weight of this will just take that right down, and then you're done. And then that would reduce any cleanup inside the bowl that you might have. I don't know, like, I've never pooped into a hole this small before, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, I've never aimed my poop. So I can't say that I'm going to be an expert poop aimer when I start using this thing, and I might miss and hit the edges. So maybe this is like a learning tool. For your first furry poops, please use the included coffee filters.
Dookie filters.
The Dookie filters, that's right. So, but in the end, if we decided we wanted to continue to use this system here, they look like they're nice. They recycle. The videos we saw on this were white, but they look like they've gone to nice recycled ones, and that's very friendly with the earth. But I'm sure we could find replacements if we wanted to use this. But I think this is good for, well, probably a year of you going to the bathroom and probably 3 or 4 days of me going to the bathroom.
Gross. TMI. TMI.
Right. So anyway, that's why we went with this thing. I think it's a cool choice. It looks all space age. What did you call it?
R2P2.
R2P2. That's right. We got to put a little sound maker on here every time you use it. He gets all excited. Thank you. So, all right, guys. Well, I hope this information helps you guys. I think it's valid. We actually, there's not a whole lot of informative videos on the differences between the two toilets. So we felt it necessary. We're not bashing the Nature's Head toilet, and we're not getting paid by Airhead either. It's just that these were the differences that we saw, and we felt they were important enough for us to make a choice to do something like this. But we hope that this information helps you make the choice when you decide to spend $1,000 on a toilet.